You ever wonder why some people just dive into a challenge with everything they have, while others, well, they just don't? Why one student can get totally lost in a project for hours, completely absorbed, while another can't even bring themselves to start? This, right here, is the great motivation puzzle. And in this explainer, we are going to unpack the science behind what really, truly drives us.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by meeting 4 different students to really see this puzzle in action. Then, we're going to look at the 2 big engines of motivation, dig into our most basic human needs, uncover the incredible power of our inner stories, and finally, we'll put together a practical toolkit you can literally start using today.
All right, to get a real handle on this, let's imagine 4 students in a typical science class. Their teacher just gave them a lab activity, and honestly, the way they each react tells us pretty much everything we need to know about how complex motivation really is.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And spoiler alert, it has very little to do with being lazy or smart. It's actually a really complex mix of beliefs, feelings, and goals. So understanding these different profiles, that's our first step to cracking the code. Let's meet our 4 students.
First up, we've got Geraldo. He won't even pick up the pencil. He just feels totally defeated before he even starts, completely convinced he can't do it. In his mind, he's already failed, so what's the point of even trying? Okay, next is Summit. Now he's the one checking in with the teacher about every single step. He's not really into the experiment itself, not at all. He just wants to know exactly what to do to get those bonus points. He'll do the work, sure, but only for the reward. No more and definitely no less.
And then there's Sophia. She is a whole different story. She is genuinely fascinated by this chemistry experiment. She's spending extra time on it, not for a better grade. Her grade's already a C, but just because she truly loves learning about this stuff.
And finally, let's meet Damon. He masks his insecurity by calling the whole lab dumb. He avoids the work entirely, messes around, and tries to copy answers from other students. His real goal here? To avoid looking like he can't do it. So you see, these 4 students are all being pushed and pulled by totally different forces. To make sense of it, we have to start with the 2 main engines of motivation. The stuff that comes from inside us and the stuff that comes from the outside. Psychologists have a name for this: intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Okay, so intrinsic motivation, that's your inner fire. It's what's driving Sophia. She's doing the experiment for the sheer joy and satisfaction of it. Extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, comes from the outside world. Think grades, extra credit, or avoiding punishment. That is Sumet. 100%. He's working for the reward, not for the love of the game. The key difference, you see, is the reason you're doing something. Is it coming from you or from somewhere else?
But wait, where do these drives even come from? They don't just pop up out of nowhere. A lot of the time, they're our attempts to satisfy some of our most basic, fundamental human needs. And if we can get a handle on those needs, we get to go one level deeper into this whole motivation puzzle.
And, you really can't talk about needs without bringing up Abraham Maslow and his famous pyramid. The idea is actually pretty straightforward. You have to take care of your basic survival and safety needs first. He called these deficiency needs, before you can even start thinking about those higher-level growth needs, like learning or art or becoming the best version of yourself, which he called self-actualization.
Now, a more modern theory, called self-determination theory, boils it down to 3 core psychological needs that drive all of us. First, we need to feel competent, like we're actually good at what we do. Second, we need autonomy, that feeling that we're the ones in the driver's seat of our own lives. And third, we need relatedness, that deep need to connect with other people. When those 3 needs are being met, our natural intrinsic motivation just thrives.
And this is where it gets super practical, because these needs are what shape our goals, and our goals usually fall into one of 2 buckets. Are we driven by mastery, where the whole point is just to learn, to get better, to understand the material for ourselves? Or are we driven by performance, where the goal is to look smart, get the highest grade, and, well, beat everybody else? Sophia clearly has a mastery goal, while Sumit and Damant are all about performance.
But it gets even deeper. See, our motivation isn't just about our needs or our goals. It is profoundly shaped by the stories we tell ourselves about why things happen, especially why we succeed or why we fail.
There's a theory for this, of course. It's called attribution theory. Think about it. When you bomb a test, you ask yourself, why did I fail? And when you ace it, you ask, how did I pull that off? The answers you give yourself, the causes you attribute your success or failure to, have a massive impact on how motivated you'll be next time. And we tend to analyze these causes along 3 lines. First is locus. Was it something about me, or was it something outside of me? Second, stability. Is this cause something that's going to change, or is it permanent? And third, controllability. Could I have actually done something about it? So, hopeless Geraldo? He probably blames his struggles on a cause that feels internal, stable, and totally out of his control. I'm just dumb. And that single belief just demolishes his motivation.
And this leads us perfectly into what might be the single most powerful idea in the psychology of motivation today, pioneered by the researcher Carol Dweck. It all comes down to one core belief. Do you think your intelligence is carved in stone, or do you think it can grow?
Someone with a fixed mindset believes their ability is just a fixed trait. You're either smart or you're not. So they avoid challenges because failing would just prove they aren't smart after all. But someone with a growth mindset believes ability can be changed, that it can be improved with effort. So they welcome challenges because they see them as a chance to learn and actually get smarter.
And get this. This isn't just some nice, feel-good idea. It's backed up by neuroscience. When you learn, you are literally building new connections in your brain. Your brain physically changes. So think of it like a muscle. The more you work it out, the stronger it gets. Truly taking this one idea on board can fundamentally change your entire approach to learning and to life.
Okay, so this is all really fascinating theory, but what do we do with it? What's the bottom line? How can we use these ideas to build stronger, more resilient motivation in students, in our own kids, or hey, even in ourselves?
The practical toolkit really comes down to creating an environment that feeds those three core needs we talked about: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. This means giving people real choices, not just fake ones. It means explaining why a rule exists instead of just saying, because I said so. It means accepting that feelings like frustration or boredom are a normal part of the learning process. And it means using language that empowers people instead of trying to control them.
We have covered a lot of ground here, from our most basic needs all the way to the secret stories we tell ourselves. So if you're going to walk away remembering just one thing from all of this, what should it be?
I think the most crucial point is this. Motivation is not some fixed trait that some lucky people have and others don't. It's a dynamic state. It's a whole system of interconnected parts. And the amazing news is that by understanding how those parts work together, we get the power to actually influence them for the better.
And that really brings us to the final thought. Are your abilities set in stone, or can they grow with effort? Is failure a final judgment on who you are, or is it just feedback for your next try? Ultimately, the science is clear. The beliefs we choose to hold have the power to shape our reality. So the real question is, which story will you choose?